mystery packages again. And I don't know about you, but it smells kind of Chinese to me. You know what old Jack Burton always says? Yeah, have you paid your dues? Yes, sir, the check is in the mail. Ah! Hey folks, Kilt-Man here, Kilt-Man. At your services. How are you all? Hope you're doing very, very well. Yes, now, that little intro kind of gave the game away, didn't it? We've got another mystery package. Yes, here it is now. From your friend and mine, Steve 007 Smith. Up to his old tricks again. His constant campaign to redecorate the walls of Kilt Mansion just seems to know no bounds. So yet another piece of wonderful movie artwork has arrived. And as usual, regular viewers will know that we play this little game. What he does, he sends me these things and I have to try and guess what they are before I've opened the box. And usually I'm pretty much spot on. Usually. I think there's been a couple. I think the last couple have kind of thrown me a bit of a curveball, a bit of a wobbler. But you know, mostly I'm on the money. Normally, I mean, I'm not just psychic. Normally he sends me a clue as well. A little tiny, little cluesette. And it kind of points me in one direction or, you know, another direction. And sometimes I have to try and backtrack and work out. And it's actually quite a fun game. Now this time, for this particular piece here, well, you're way ahead of me because I've already kind of given the game away as to what I think it's going to be. I mean, look, I've got a Chinese wild man here. I've got lots of Jack Burton, Big Trouble in Little China paraphernalia dotted round. I'm playing John Carpenter's glorious, fantastic soundtrack to Big Trouble in Little China. So, obviously, I think, inside that box, it's Big Trouble in Little China. Why? Because he sent me a clue, and all that clue was, it said, clues for the canvas, ... JB, ... Nuff said. Straight away, I thought, JB? I drink grouse, not Jim Beam. Or is it J and B, like McCready drinks in The Thing? No. James Bond. Has to be James Bond. It's so obvious. Steve is a massive James Bond fan, as indeed am I. And I thought, well, straight away, it's James Bond, obviously, but that's really, really obvious. But so what James Bond could it be? Well, we've got 25 titles to conjure with there. But my favourite James Bond movie of all time is On Her Majesty's Secret Service. You know, and I bang on about it a lot. It's got to be that. He's never sent me any James Bond imagery before, so it's got to be that. And then I've had this for about a day now, and I began to sort of think again, hang on a second, that's really obvious. He wouldn't be like that. He wouldn't make it that obvious. Clearly, JB, James Bond. No. Jason Bourne, maybe? No, come on, no. So I went back through the messages that we've had, because we talk to each other all the time. And I thought, there might be some other clue that he slipped in there. And Steve, I don't know if you realise what you've done, but when I trawled back through, because when you first sent me the message about, oh, it's JB, we've spoken since, and I went back through the messages after that first clue, or only clue, and you'd sent me an image of the Big Trouble in Little China board game, and I wasn't thinking at all about Big Trouble in Little China. I wasn't thinking at all about Jack Burton. That never entered my mind. But then I saw that and I thought, yeah, Jack Burton. He's playing the game. But I don't think you sent that picture like as a little sort of subconscious clue. I don't think you meant to do that. Subliminal message there. I think that was just sheer blind luck that you did it. But that took me right off the James Bond path and put me on the little path to Big Trouble in Little China. And boy, am I going to look like a right tit if it's James Bond in here. But anyway, let's cut this sucker open and see what we find. So here it is, folks. Here it is. It's totally sealed up. I haven't cut into it. And I could well be completely wrong. I could be way off the mark with this. But that's part of the fun. So let's get into this. Okay, as usual, it's very easy to get into. I don't know why I bother using that half the time, because these, they just flip up anyway. Okay, now as usual, it is sealed within, out of my way, it's sealed in here, cellophaned up with a cardboard frontage, so I can't see what the hell it is. Oh, old Jack, oh, the idiot. I mean, he thinks he's the hero in his own story, and he's not. He's the supporting character. That's the beauty of Big Trouble in Little China. That's where the film endures. He's playing a complete and utter buffoon. You know, he's buff, he's brawny, but he's brain dead. He's a complete fucking tool. He's the last person to the party. He hasn't got a clue what's happening around him. You know, Jack Burton, China is here. What does that mean, China is here? I don't even know what the hell that means. He's just a complete idiot. And with James Hong playing Lo Pan, and he's like, Lo Pan could be an 8-foot tall wizard with glowing eyes, but he can also be a little wizened old man in a motorised wheelchair. And when they get captured, you know, in the Wing Chun and all that, Wing Kong trading, Wing Chun, that's martial arts, of which there's plenty in this movie. And they're sitting there, him and Dennis Dunn, his mate, Wang. And they see Lo Pan as a little man, and like Wang's like, Lo Pan. It's like, what? This guy? No, but what about the 10-foot tall demon, you know, with the glowing eyes? Like, I don't get it. And James Hong, as Lo Pan, just goes, shut up, Mr. Burton. You go, well, I'll put on this air to get in. What does it mean? Two girls with green eyes. Fucking love this movie. And again, a dismal failure for John Carpenter. And after The Thing, another big studio blockbuster, massively mishandled. Marketing was terrible on this movie. No one knew what the hell it was. Well, I did, because when it came out in the UK, I'd already read Starburst, Starlog, City Fantastique, and lots of other, you know, magazines and stuff which had mentioned it and talked all about it. So I knew exactly what I was getting in for. Plus, in John Carpenter, I always trusted. And King Kurt, come on now! How could it go wrong? And for me, it doesn't go wrong. The film now has a huge cult following, as you all know. I'm waffling here because I'm getting second thoughts and a bit jittery as to what is going to be revealed here as not being Big Trouble in Little China. Alright, come on, let's slit this open. You guys are going to see this first, okay? Now, it might be upside down, I don't know. I can't tell from, you know, from behind. Right. If it's upside down, I apologise. There's no surprise on my face, Steve. No surprise on my face. But look at that, though. Wow. It's got the Intratec 9mm sort of semi-auto machine pistol. It's got a CB radio in that hand. The Pork Chop Express. It's got that glorious vest on. Sorry, I keep kicking the camera stand. Hey, the Orient, don't you know? Oh, you can't see those magnificent boots. He wears these fabulous high-top moccasin boots. He went to Aspen, this is Kurt Russell, and he found someone who could make these little one-offs, and he snagged them. Oh, and they are glorious. I'm the guy that spent 30 years tracking down all the gear for Snake Plissken, and I finally got it all. In fact, I got it all pretty much at the same time. The boots, the Alpine Stars high points. I found someone in Tokyo, not China, in Tokyo, a fellow called Tom McLeod, who made the camouflage urban pattern pants for Snake Plissken, and I got those. Wested got me the leather jacket, exact reproduction of the leather jacket. Susie Love in Los Angeles, got me the wet look vinyl muscle shirt, and I got the watch and all the other bits and bobs, and oh god, yeah. But for this guy, the only damn thing I can get is the vest. I mean, obviously I can fashion the mullet, and you can wear a pair of jeans, but those boots, I've got a pair of high top moccasin boots, but they're more sort of Robin Hood Renaissance. But they are moccasin boots though. And you know, you could try and pass it off, I suppose, but nah. But anyway, look at this. Here he is. I mean, look at his face. Kurt Russell's having a ball making this movie. An absolute ball. Wonderful poster that. There were several posters when this film first came out. That is one of them. And then you've got like the likes of, where is it now? Oh, there you go, on the original vinyl soundtrack album. I think that was the poster when I went to see it at the Flicks. Visual effects from Richard Edlund, creature effects from Steve Johnson, and it's just a glorious mashup. Martial arts mayhem, tons of martial artists in there, and it's one of the pioneering movies in Hollywood that actually brought, you know, gun fu and wire fu into movies, and the fights are incredible. Dennis Dunn, who plays Wang, Jack Burton's mate, the one who loses his girlfriend to Lopan because she's got green eyes, and he needed a green-eyed girl, you know, to make the prophecy come true, so he can get flesh on his withered bones. You see Lopan in various different versions of himself. The big towering hulking Bruce with the big huge hat and the glowing eyes. You see him in a cameo as a hobo on the streets, sort of watching the Pork Chop Express driving by. You see him as the wizened old little crone in the wheelchair with hair not dissimilar from that, and then he glows and becomes translucent and becomes the tall, towering, ethereal sorcerer. But he wants proper flesh on his bones. Miao Yin is the girl, which is Dennis Dunn's girlfriend, who's being abducted by the Lords of Death, who are being contracted out to go and get it. They're trying to find these green-eyed girls to make this prophecy come true. Jack gets embroiled into this because Wang owes him money, so he's gonna stick around to try and, you know, help him get this bird back, and all hell is let loose. And in China, there's lots of different hells. The hell of the upside down sinners, the hell of boiling water and red hot sand. Chinese have a lot of hells. And you've got the storms, these three great big, you know, with wicker basket headgear on. You've got thunder, lightning and rain, and they can control the elements. And Thunder, played by Carter Wong, is the one who grows into a huge hulking thing, and then at the end he grows and grows and grows, and then grows some more to the point where he explodes in a big shower of offal. But it's a fucking genius movie, way ahead of its time. And like The Thing, like many of Carpenter's movies, a cult following was just, it died in the DNA. So it died a death at the cinema, critics despised it, and then home video and word of mouth, and the film becomes an absolute cult classic that now they're trying to remake. They've been trying to remake this for years with, of all things, Dwayne Johnson as the Jack Burton character. That completely flies in the face. Having a huge hulking muscle-bound dude who always is the hero is absolutely undermining the whole point of this. In Escape from New York, Kurt Russell had a Clint Eastwood accent impersonation going on. For this he used John Wayne because it was that bravado, that swagger, that cocksure arrogance, that drawl. But he's such a doofus that everything he does he gets wrong. He only survives by the seat of his pants, but he still manages to, he's still the hero. Kim Cattrall, they call it Cattrall now, don't they? Back in the day when she was in Porky's and that, it was Kim Cattrall. Now it's Cattrall, you know. And she's great in this as well. And you've got, oh God, who else is in it? Victor Wong playing Egg Shen, who's fantastic with that eye. Yeah. And Dennis Dunn and Victor Wong would go on to do Prince of Darkness as well with John Carpenter. A film I always threaten to cover in depth, but I've shied away from it so far. I'll get around to it. This soundtrack, by the way, although Escape from New York and The Thing, well, The Thing isn't from John Carpenter, apart from The Sting is in a bit of moody ambience, the rest is Ennio Morricone. But Halloween, Halloween 2, The Fog, Escape from New York, Escape from LA, which was also with Shirley Walker. But this are the greatest soundtracks that John Carpenter's done. And this, by far, is the most inventive and imaginative with all the Chinese flavourings that he puts into it. John Carpenter said, like, I wanted to avoid the Ricky Ticky sort of sound and not go for the obvious sort of Chinese sort of sound design. But the fact is, it does sound enormously Chinese anyway, and it's brilliant. He uses far more equipment, far more keyboards, far more samplers and synthesizers, and a lot more dense layering takes place. And the production design on this is just superlative. Again, he worked with long-time collaborator Alan Howarth. But for my money, although I prefer Escape from New York and The Fog and Halloween, this is the best soundtrack he's come up with. It's so rich and deep and resonant, and it's a big score as well. Lots of action, lots of moody ambience. It is loads of stingers. It is absolutely nigh on perfect. I would say that Prince of Darkness possibly is the better produced one, but there's less going on in that. It's a very dark, satanic, hugely atmospheric and exciting score for Prince of Darkness. But this one has all the correct elements: the mysticism, the etherealness, the suspense, the thrills, the chills, the action, and a lot of fun to it as well. Carpenter and his Bezzy mates, under the guise of their little rock band, the Coupe de Villes, sing the final song, Big Trouble in Little China, which I might play in a bit. But it is a great score for a great movie. I really need to go in depth on Big Trouble in Little China. I don't think I've even reviewed this movie on the channel, as it happens. It's one of those I've talked about so many times and alluded to, but I've never actually sat down and discussed the movie from start to finish. However, I must rectify that. But in the meantime, folks, Steve 007 Smith has played yet another blinder. Look at that, it is great. And I am so sorry, mate, but I really totally thought it was James Bond at first. I even sent you a reply saying, don't worry, I'll work it out. We have all the time in the world to work it out. Alluding to the great John Barry score for On Her Majesty's Secret Service. With the Louis Armstrong track, we have all the time in the world. Only when I went back and thought, it's too obvious now, it's too obvious, you can't be making it that abundantly clear to me. So let's just, went back through the clues, and there was a bloody picture of him on the cover of this very elusive board game for Big Trouble in Little China, which I have not got, sadly, but I wouldn't mind getting hold of. I also wouldn't mind getting hold of the Escape from New York board game. Although I've seen it, I've never actually owned that itself. And it's one of the very few mementos, memorabilia, merch from that movie which I've never got hold of. So, if anyone out there's got one and wants to send it off to Kilt Mansion, please, feel free. But folks, look at that. Jack Burton. He's great. Lovely little twist at the end as well, where that silly wild man thing is on the back of the Pork Chop Express, alluding to the fact that the adventures could go on, and the adventures did go on. I think it's Boom Time, who wrote this book, actually, The Official Making of Big Trouble in Little China, which is a great book, by the way, recommend it. But they also released a comic book adaptation and the continuing adventures of Jack Burton. They also did it with Snake Plissken for Escape from New York, which even though I'm a massive fan of Escape from New York, and Snake Plissken's my favourite character of all time, I got about 14, 15 issues of that Escape from New York. But after issue 2, I couldn't stand it. I was only buying it just for the collection. But even then I thought, I don't care. It was so bad. The cover imagery was always great, but the artwork on the inside was appallingly bad. And the stories were just absolute tripe and drivel. So I never bothered with the Big Trouble in Little China follow-on. I just couldn't. They produce great making of books, well, they're out there, and there's also an art of book as well. But when it comes to the comic book adaptations, Boom Time, you screw-ups. Sorry, you're just not worth it at all. So I can't recommend them. Even just to have the whole thing in your collection because you're a die-hard fan, it's not worth it. Not worth it, folks. Anyway, in the meantime, and this cocksure, arrogant in-between time, please keep it kilted, keep it Celtic. Be happy all, and I'll see you on the flip side. I forgot to play the Coupe de Villes. I'll put that right now. So I think we need the other disc, don't we? Yeah, we do. So let's get onto this. Yeah, old school. We're playing CDs on a little separate stack system. Come on now, let's get into this now. Where is it? Oh, this is Carpenter and crew. And this played out over the end credits of Big Trouble in Little China. And I think it's Nick Castle, Tommy Lee Wallace. And Nick Castle, of course, is the Shape in the original Halloween. But even the mullet, Jack Burton's mullet, it's beautiful. It's a piece of art, you could say. Follicular art. Some of the stunts, the sloping corridor where he's in the wheelchairs again, like they strapped their prisoners into wheelchairs and carved them round. It's very strange. But after a little escape from a prison cell, Jack thunders down this sloping corridor in a wheelchair and then goes through like a crash barrier, and he teeters on the brink of a huge well, this abyss, going down to some other black tarry hell of 1,000 diarrhea-ridden peasants. And he's on the edge of that, he brings himself back. But you watch that scene, what that is, he's travelling down a very flat corridor, and it's all forced perspective, and the way it's been painted to make it look like it's sloping down, and it really does look like it's sloping down. Very, very clever, very old school, no CG at all, but just proper old school camera trickery and forced perspective. Brilliant, works a treat. Now, that is Carpenter singing there, isn't it? Sure it is. Master filmmaker, great musician, fabulous raconteur. Can't sing, no, can you, John? Never liked that gun though. Not a fan of that at all. It's a horrible little thing. And another great moment. Well, while it's still playing, another great moment. The first escape they make from the Wing Ching trading, Lo Pan's fortress, and they get to a doorway, and he says, right, so everyone, like, look, it's a whole procession of escapees. He says, right, beyond here, it's offices, it's a nice reception area, it's a front door, and then freedom. Everything's pretty normal from now on. And they open the door, and there's about 100 henchmen just stood there, waiting to look at it, waiting for him to come through. He goes, we may be trapped. And if you look at all the crowd behind him, they all go, all at once in unison. It's just great. Folks, I have been over Shabby Kilt-Man. Please be happy, be safe, and I'm going to see you all later.